All right, everybody. You guys know the drill. Can you guys hear me? If I sound tired, I am, admittedly. But the show must go on. It's 11 o'clock right now here in South Florida, 11 o'clock. So I believe this is back-to-back late-night episodes of the Cutline. So that's new. Hopefully, thankfully, we don't have too many late-night races as well. But anyways, everybody, welcome to the Cutline. I am your host, Armando DePaul, and we just wrapped up Memorial Day Mayhem. I feel like, we have a name for this kind of weekend. We have that. We got, like, it's the greatest day in racing, greatest day in motorsports. We have all that stuff. But I feel like we need, like, an official name. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I like the name Memorial Day Mayhem. Because especially this year, Memorial Day Mayhem was a perfect description for Monaco, Indy, and Charlotte. I'll talk about Monaco and Indy a little bit later on, like really towards the race weekend rankings. Spoiler alert, they will be on the list. But obviously this is a primarily NASCAR show, so that's what we're going to focus on. No guests this week. Unfortunately, no guests this week. Hopefully, we'll get one locked up. Actually, we should have one locked up for next week, when we have a little bit of a more normal time. So, we just got to have a chat with all you guys, everyone in the chat. So, let's see here. Miss Mick Chicken Sauce, great race. I agree. I thought it was a fairly good race as well. I thought it was good. We'll talk about it later on exactly, maybe some of the problems that we thought were going to persist, once we get more towards the race weekend rankings. But without any further ado, let's just jump straight into it. So, this first segment I got here. Oh, here we go. Well, we are going to scroll down there later on because there's some comments I do want to highlight. So, the first thing that I want to talk about here is the Kyle Larson double. What do I mean by this? So, everyone knows, like, Mother Nature hates Kyle Larson when it comes to the double. She loves Larson for anything else, winning cup races, winning championship, winning dirt, you name it. But when it comes to running the double, Mother Nature just kind of turns her back on Kyle Larson, if you will. And, I agree with you, McChicken Sauce. Feel horrible. Yeah, you got to feel bad for Larson. Now, it's funny because I do think that Larson wrecking out of the Indy 500 is something that NASCAR was hoping for. Because, they don't want to put themselves in the position to where they have to make Larson choose. But, and I'll just jump straight into it. So Larson, obviously NASCAR basically told Larson, hey, if it comes down to it, you better be here for the Coke 600. And I get it. Let me see if we can find some of the, because look at this comment here. Basically Larson was talking about would he ever consider doing the double again. And then he said, because it's so time restrictive and, especially with the playoffs and the waivers, it's really hard to gauge if he's even going to make it, get a waiver or not. It sounds like he's not going to try the double again anytime soon. But one of the big talking points, especially this weekend, was how fans, it seems like, were really going against NASCAR in this sense. I'm trying to see if I can find the correct Dustin Long quote, and I did. I found it right here, but you can see some of the comments right here. Like, for example, and I'm no means like trying to attack any of these guys. I'm just trying to show you what the reaction was from the NASCAR community. So, for example, Tyler Greenfield, way to go NASCAR, killing something that was cool and connected both series on a huge weekend. Pockers picks. Can NASCAR now move the start of the 600 back just a little bit? If the 500 moved up 15 minutes and the 600 moved back 15 minutes would help anyone in the future. Or F in Class C, if Indy would just start 30 minutes sooner and NASCAR 30 minutes later, that would be pretty awesome to make it more possible. And then CR, a little more on the aggressive side. Yep, NASCAR hates good PR again. That's one reason why the sport is bleeding fans and money. I mean, if you see the grandstands at Charlotte, I don't think they're really necessarily bleeding. But anyway. And this is where I want to go into here. And I'll just leave these comments out here so you can go. We could go back as a reference. Let's put a hypothetical situation here. And Josh, I know you're watching, so listen to this scenario here. And it's perfect for where I really want to describe why this thinking isn't the right way to go. All right, so let's say that, hypothetically speaking, we have a NASCAR race that's starting after an IndyCar race. And, of course, I have the Cutline. I go live after every Cup race, you know. But what if I decided instead I would go and just say, hey, guys, I know that I have the Cutline after every Cup race, but I'm going to go do a show for a different channel, a different company, just period, for competitors, for a competitor series with a competitor network, and there's a chance that I may not be able to make it to the Cutline this week. I don't even want to know what the reaction would be if I even thought about bringing that idea up to the Daily Downforce. And let's just say it probably wouldn't be a good one. Or let me put more of a normal scenario, I guess. For, I guess, a 9-to-5 job, for example. Let's say you're working your 9-to-5 one day. Let's say it's a Sunday. But then you want to go work another job. That's that's working for a competitor. So let's say you go tell your job, hey, I'm going to go work for a competitor earlier in the day before my shift, but there's a chance that I might miss my shift or, you know, something like that. What do you think your job is going to say? More times than not, they're probably going to write you up or they're going to tell you to clear out your locker room. I get it. Would it be cool for Kyle Larson and NASCAR to work something out to where they can make something happen? To where, you know, we could push the 600 back a little bit. We could do something like that to where Larson can make both races and not worry about anything. Yes, in theory, that would be good. However, I have 2 points to this. Number one, it's not NASCAR's problem to pander to Kyle Larson. At the end of the day, he's the one that chose to go race a different race for a different series the same day as his job. Like, let's remember, folks, these are the drivers' jobs. They get paid to go drive these cars. This is their job. They're not doing this for fun. So when the Indy 500 is Larson doing it for fun, obviously context, everything, all that, I understand. But in the context of the NASCAR's Larson's job, the Indy 500 is a side benefit for Larson. It's a side gig. So when you're basically trying to tell your main job, hey, I want to prioritize my side gig over you, how do you think your job is going to react? 9 times out of 10, they're not going to take that lightly. I mean, just look what Larson did last year. I don't blame NASCAR at all for being furious when their best driver in the series chooses another series over them. Imagine if your best employee chose another job over you. Would you be happy? I wouldn't. That's number one. Number two. Well, NASCAR can push the race back. They can push the race back and give Larson a chance. Guys, NASCAR doesn't revolve around Kyle Larson. There's 39 other drivers, 100,000 fans, sponsors galore, a brand new TV network, everything that goes into just not even just a race, but just a sporting event as a whole. There's so much that goes into it that they can't just say, yeah, we're going to push everything because our driver might be running late. How do you think that makes the other drivers feel? How do you think that might make Chase Briscoe feel? William Byron, Christopher Bell, Reddick, Hamlin, other drivers. I guarantee you Denny Hamlin would have a fit on actions detrimental if NASCAR even did that. Basically, the drivers are basically saying, oh, so you're going to prioritize Larson over us. I see it all the time. I'm a Larson fan, by the way. And I see all the time on social media how, oh, NASCAR's pandering to Kyle Larson because, you know, the caution falls for him at North Wilkesboro or things go his way throughout the season. that's just fans being fans. But that would be the worst of them all. NASCAR literally postponing the race so Larson could get back. Again, if you were to tell your job, hey, I might be late, can you push my shift back because I want to go work for a competitor? What do you think your job is going to tell you? You think they're going to say, oh yeah, sure, absolutely, no problem, go ahead. No, they're going to tell you, you better be here on time, or else we're either going to write you up or you're fired. And really, you have no right to be mad. I'm just going to say that right now. No one have any right to be mad. If Larson chose, assuming he didn't crash out of the Indy 500, which he did. If Larson chose to ran the whole Indy 500 and missed the start of the 600, he deserves all the punishment that goes to him. Because at the end of the day, he's skipping out on his job to go do a side gig. And I understand. This is coming from someone who continuously claims, in my opinion, it's the truth, that the Indy 500 is the biggest race in the world. I understand that. As someone who used to live in the area, as someone who understands that 1 in 1,000 people in the United States go to that one place, that one building, if you will, that one stadium to watch cars go 230 miles an hour. I understand how big of a deal the Indy 500 is. Probably more than most people. Again, I understand it. But this isn't about how big of a deal the Indy 500 is. I understand the Coca-Cola 600 is a bigger deal, or is nowhere close to the Indy 500. I mean, the Coca-Cola 600 gets, what, like 100,000 views? Or 100,000 spectators, attendance? Indy 500 has 4 times that amount. But that doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, it's your job. You're going to skip out on your job for a competitor. That's not a good look, regardless of how big the event is. It doesn't matter. Like, how do you think, let's put it this way. How do you think at Formula One or McLaren felt when Fernando Alonso decided he's going to skip Monaco for the Indy 500 back in 2017? Probably not good. You're basically saying that that's more important than you, my job. Again, the side gig's more important than the main job. That's not good. Again, I understand. Would it be nice for in the future, maybe Indy starts a little sooner, NASCAR starts a little later, just to make the process a little bit easier? Yeah, it would. But it's going to be difficult regardless. Whether you extend it 30, 45 minutes, an hour, you name it. Unless you start Indy at Monaco time, and you start the Coke 600 at normal time, it's going to be a logistical nightmare regardless. That's just the truth of it. You're running a 3-hour race. You got 90 minutes to get back to run another 5-hour race. It's just going to be a logistical nightmare regardless. But I want to say this because of people who are trying to go after NASCAR, trying to make NASCAR look like the bad guys. Again, try doing that at your job and see how they react. Just want to put that out there. Some of the comment sections right here. Great job for Chastain. We'll get to him in a moment. Racer 59. Javier, appreciate you coming on, man. As always, Prime Video was a cluster of issues and stopping within the race. I didn't have issues with Prime, and we'll get to them in just a moment. He who invites with the watermelon emoji, as does Nicholas. Ross Chastain, just one baby. Let's go. Antonio, I see you. Where's the show host? It's been 10 minutes. I'm right here. Hello? I'm right here. I haven't gone anywhere. I've been live for 15 minutes. I haven't gone anywhere, bud. Feel horrible for Larson. Sir McChicken sauce. Absolutely. Kyle Busch fan 18. Melon smash. Hulk smash. Melon smash. Bro, please let Chastain get a Marvel sponsorship. I'm going a little bit off tangent here, but let Chastain hear me out. I got it. Chris, if you're watching this, just consider this idea for a paint scheme. Chastain, Marvel sponsorship, the Hulk smashing a watermelon. I know I'm going off tangent, but I just thought of that. And also I bought some superhero Funko, so Raging Knuckles, indie broadcast was horrible. Nothing the broadcasters could do about it. Same old Fox. You know what's interesting, Raging Knuckles? I didn't really notice while I was watching the race. I think I was just more or less paying attention to the race and the broadcast itself. I didn't notice the issues at first. It's not until I went back and rewatched some of the clips and stuff that I'm like, oh, this was bad. This was really bad. Like, listen to the crowd. Will Buxton, listen to the crowd. Cricket, cricket, cricket. Or, I know it finished under yellow, but how do you not show the replay of the crash that ended the 500? How do you not show Pelot crossing the start finish line? That iconic image. They've done it before in a caution. Is that Artie guy who was the director at Fox before, or did he direct the Indy 500 for some reason? Because I could see that. Because the last few episodes, the last few broadcasts for Fox, minus that whole Michael Waltrip fiasco in North Wilkesboro, I thought were fairly solid after Talladega. So, I don't know if he was running the 500 show. If he was, please never do it again. Kyle Busch, fan 18, fire. That's what I'm saying, bro. Let that paint scheme become a reality. Speaking of a reality, Amazon Prime, first ever NASCAR race. Now, I just want to say, I love Around the Bend. Why can't I think of the name of? It's the same band as Fortunate Son. I don't know why. The name of the band is slipping through my mind. Someone please say the name of the band before I go crazy. But not only that, but then they bring on Eric Church. Ooh, that was so good. This intro, let me tell you something. I love NASCAR racing to the point where it takes a lot for me to actively hate a race. That's why when you look at the F tier, there's only like 4 races, and most of them are ARCA. But it has been a long time since I have been this hype for a race. Just from the intro. Like, I'm talking like, you have to go back to bringing back the sunshine, the Blake Shelton intro from, NBC when they first started. It has been that long. And it has been just so good. It has been so good. I mean, just look at this intro again. Like, it gets you excited. It gets you hyped. Like, there's just nothing like it. And I do want to dive a little more into the broadcast as someone who at the beginning of this show, really like just talked down, talk not very great about Fox. So this broadcast was a breath of fresh air. I really do believe that. And I want to start off with the big one. Obviously, your typical Adam Alexander, Dale Jr., Steve Letarte, all that stuff. But the big thing for me was it made NASCAR feel fast again. What do I mean by that? The Indy 500 by Fox felt slow, which is crazy to say when you're going over 230 miles an hour that a broadcast feels slow or that the cars feel slow. So, contrast that with the Coke 600. We talk about how slow these cars are, how the horsepower is neutered. Watching this broadcast, it made me realize, okay, they're not going 200 miles an hour down to turn 1 or turn 3 anymore. They're not, blitzing lap records like there's no tomorrow. But 180 miles an hour is still stupid fast. And you felt that with this prime coverage. You got the sensation of speed that has been lacking in broadcasts, especially with Fox, and even in a lot of cases with NBC too. You don't really get that speed sensation that you did maybe in the past. You got that with Prime. You got that sensation of speed. You got that feeling that these guys are wheeling and dealing, going stupid fast throughout this racetrack. Which again, 180 miles an hour is still ridiculously fast. None of us could even dream about going that fast consistently. So, you got that feeling. You kind of remembered, oh, NASCAR is still pretty fast. And even just some of the other stuff as well, like the camera work was chef's kiss. It was phenomenal. It was beautiful. crisp. Like, you could see every speck of asphalt on the track. I'm sure it's because they were using 1080 cameras. I heard Fox uses 720. But, again, not saying that's true or not. This is just like a rumor that I heard. But the visuals, the images looked so much clearer. You could see every little detail of every car, every part of the track, you name it. It was phenomenal. So the camera work, the graphic, just the lighting, everything, 10 out of 10. The coverage made it feel serious. It made it feel like it made the Coke 600 feel important. One of my issues with a lot of crown jewels is that a lot of times they don't feel important. Like the Daytona 500 is the Daytona 500, but that's turned into a crapshoot. Coke 600, I don't feel like it's really turned into a crown jewel. It's kind of gone from a crown jewel to just, we're honoring those who serve. Nothing wrong with that. Thank you for your service, but it kind of lost that crown jewel luster. Like, oh, this is still an important race to win. The Southern 500, I have my issues with that, but we'll get to that when we get to that weekend. And then the Brickyard 400, I still stand by my hot take, should never came back. But with this coverage, the way they presented the Coca-Cola 600, it made it feel like a crown jewel again. The way Dale Jr. and Steve Letarte were talking about how grueling mentally the cars may be able to last the 600 miles, but can the drivers mentally last it? And even then, Hocevar's car didn't make it. Larson spun out like, twice? So it made the 600 feel like a big deal again. And we'll see if this kind of carries over with TNT, because I believe they have the Brickyard. I'm not sure if they or NBC have the Brickyard, but it made the crown. This was the most a crown jewel, felt like a crown jewel in a long time. Because Fox doesn't care. They treat it like a clown show. NBC, they treat it seriously, but they don't treat it like a crown jewel. They treat it like a normal race. But they do such a good job with every other race that they could get away with it. This race felt like an important event on the schedule that you had to watch. You had to stay tuned for all 5 hours, and the drivers not wanted to win. And that's mostly because Amazon Prime did a phenomenal job covering the race and making it feel like a crown jewel. If the next 4 races, if this race is any indication, these next 4 races are going to be a banger. An absolute banger of sports television for Amazon Prime. Go to the comments here real quick. F1 4, IndyCar 10, NASCAR 1. Yep, absolutely. First places. Oh, yeah, so shout out to Kyle Busch fan 18. So, yep. If you don't know what he's talking about, Lando Norris won the Monaco Grand Prix. I picked Leclerc to win. He finished second. IndyCar was Alex Palou. I did pick him to win, which, by the way, I know this is a NASCAR show, but I just love seeing what Alex Palou is doing. He's having a Max Verstappen 2023-esque type of year, and I know it's not fun to see the same guy win over and over again. I get it, but at some point, you just got to respect greatness in the motion. Greatness in the moment. Like, we may never see a season like Palou has again. He might go down as having the greatest IndyCar season of all time. And if that is on the line for Palou, I want him to do it. I want to see history. I know I'm going a little bit off tangent, but I want to see that. I love seeing history. Like, if the Chiefs won 3 in a row, yeah, mostly because of refs, mostly because of the defense, but it's still history. You can't, it's like, we're going to look back on it and be in awe. In the moment, we may be mad, but even 5 years down the line, we're going to be in awe. Just look at Kyle Busch now. He can't win anything, and now everyone views him in a different light. But that's just how, that's how fans are. That's how sports are. That's just how we are as humans. But yeah, Palou won IndyCar, and then, of course, Ross Chastain won the Coca-Cola 600. And I want to talk about Ross Chastain really quick, because I'll talk about Chastain and then a little bit of Trackhouse. So Chastain, in an era and in a car where passing and track position are more important than ever before, to go from dead last, I know it's a 600-mile race. You have more time than any race on the schedule to make up ground. But to go from dead last, literally 40th, to winning the race and taking it away from William Byron, which, by the way, I thought he was going to be a clean air merchant like he was at Darlington. He wasn't. He had a car that could go out and just straight up pass Hamlin, pass the leaders, and just take it. He did have that. So for Chastain to just slowly but surely wear down Byron, eat at the lead, chip 10th after 10th after 10th, and then get the lead with just a handful of laps to go, that was very impressive. That, in my opinion, that's the most impressive win of Ross Chastain's career. And obviously the first crown jewel win of his career is obviously something. But, again, a big deal for Ross Chastain. Because, again, another thing, too, is he's kind of been doing this all year. He kind of's nowhere in the first two stages, and then come stage 3, he's, I don't want this to sound coming off as rude or disrespectful, but he's like a lesser version of Kevin Harvick when he was the closer. So like back when Kevin Harvick, especially like in his early days with SHR and with RCR, he was the closer. Kind of nowhere in the first two stages of the race. Stages in a different reference from back in that time. But in the first two phases of the race, and then at the end, he's up front. You're like, where did he come from? He was nowhere, and all of a sudden he's leading the race. And Chastain has kind of been like that this year. Nowhere in the beginning, and at the end, that one car is in contention for a top 10, top 5, and now a win. That's what he's been doing all year. So, do we say Ross Chastain is the new closer? I mean, obviously, you know, really when you try to give someone else a nickname, you know, there's always like, oh, they can't compare to Harvick, they can't compare to Dale, they can't compare to Kyle Busch. No one is trying to compare them to anyone. We're just saying they're doing what they're doing, not to the extent, but they're doing the same thing, just not to that grand level. So, that's why I say, in a smaller version, if you will, Chastain is probably the new closer of the Cup Series. Just saying. And before we move on to race weekend rankings, I do want to quickly touch on the Trackhouse. They're finding something. Chastain has been a little bit quicker, obviously. He won Charlotte. SVG, I think he's starting to figure it out, folks. Top 20 at Kansas, pole in the All-Star Open and held it. He didn't just drop like a rock until pit stops and all that nonsense. And running top 20 on merit in the 600. I'm not sure exactly where he finished. Let's see if we can find it right here. Nicholas, the Watermelon Nam is back. Let's see. Yeah, SVG, 14th. I know the race kind of got towards some attrition at the end, but 14th for SVG at an oval is very, very impressive. Considering where he was at the beginning of the year, where he was finishing dead last, out of nowhere, 14th. I would not be, again, these next gen cars run like supercars, so that probably helps a little bit, but I could see SVG getting a top 10 or 2 at an oval later this year. It's not out of the question. I mean, he was only a few laps away from doing so. I mean, a few positions away from doing so. Unfortunately, they do not have the interval of how he won, but if he did, I would love to see how close SVG was to a top 10. Let's see here. Malcolm McShane. Yo, quick question, because I'm going nuts trying to figure something out. All right, let's see what we got here for you. What was that song that kept playing on the broadcast with lyrics, "Come on and ride the wind" with that sick-ass guitar riff? That was Going Around the Bend. I keep forgetting the name of... You know what? We're going to take a quick little break. We're going to go to our trusty friends on Spotify, and I'm going to find the name of this band. No, do not play Hoosier. Around the Bend by Creedence Clearwater Revival. Bless you. You get a sub for that. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Malcolm. Hey, shout out to Malcolm, man. But yes, Up Around the Bend by Creedence Clearwater Revival, which they got a lot of good songs, by the way, like Fortunate Son, a bunch of that, but I'm going off on a tangent. But anyway, but yeah, I talked about it in the Prime one. I talked about it in the Prime segment, how, you know, like just, that got me hyped. You know, Clearwater Revival, Air Church, that was awesome. Was it ever found out what the crowd was chanting at the end of Saturday's race? I'm not sure. Matter of fact, I don't think I heard anything like on social media or even after the broadcast, like what exactly they were chanting. I mean, unless something happened. I mean, I know Byron won the race. He's like a hometown hero, but then again, so is basically 90% of the field, but not sure. What is your ideal pit road? Don't worry about that one. But yeah, I know Suarez. I don't think he had that great of a run. I didn't see him much, and I know he ran. Yeah, he got into an incident, finished 36, and then Connor Zillage ran into some issues in the beginning, but 23rd, not bad for his first oval in the Cup Series. All right, let's move on to race weekend rankings, everybody. Now, this one is a little bit different because it's a Memorial Day weekend. It's the greatest day in racing. So I figured, you know what? Why not just have all the races throughout the weekend? And I mean, everyone. We're bringing in IndyCar. We're bringing in F1. We're doing the whole shebang. We're doing everything. It's my show. I wanted to do it, so we're going to do it. Okay? So, we got trucks, Xfinity. Obviously, you got Cup. You got the Indy 500, and then you got the Monaco Grand Prix. It's actually been a while, I believe, since we've done a five. I don't think we've actually ever done a 5-race one. I think we've done 4, like Truck, Xfinity, Cup, and ARCA, but I don't think we've ever done 5. So this will be a first. Anyway, let's move on to the twist. Coming in dead last. Oh, there is ARCA as well, but honestly, it's kind. I did see the ARCA race though. I will say that. So imagine ARCA is somewhere. Coming in last place, I got to put the Monaco Grand Prix. Yes, they tried to mandate the whole two-tire strategy, but it didn't really do anything. I mean, it was still Lando, Leclerc, Piastri, 1, 2, 3. No real changes for the lead. Very rarely any changes for position. The problem with Monaco isn't the pit strategy. The problem is when you got cars that are so wide that they can barely go too wide across the entire track. That's what's going to happen. Malcolm said it best. They got to make the cars smaller. Way too hard to pass there. Absolutely. Now, the regulations for next year, they are going to make the cars slightly smaller. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but it is a step in the right direction, at least for Monaco. I will say, though, I do think it's worn a place on the schedule. It's too historic, in my opinion, not to take it out. I mean, it's older than F1 itself. Try taking that off the calendar. Probably not going to go well. And even then, they've had good races in the past. And the qualifying in Monaco is the most important qualifying of the season. And in addition to that, it's probably the hardest track to run even a single lap throughout the entire calendar. Because you got to be at 110% from lap 1 to lap 78. If you're not, you're going to end up in the wall. Like Portoletto was at the beginning of the race, or like other drivers were. So if you are not precise and on point throughout, you're not winning. You're not even making it through halfway. But there is a drawback to that, and that is it's just a Monaco parade at that point. No passing, kind of dull. Bottom of the list for a reason. We'll see where it goes when we get to the 2025 tier list. Coming in second place, I'm going to put, this might be a little bit of a hot take. I'm putting the Indy 500. I thought the Indy 500 was, looking back on it, kind of a glorified Monaco. Yes, you could pass. There were opportunities to pass, But I don't know if it was because Palou was just backing off, or Palou was just backing off, or he literally couldn't pass the lap cars because the hybrids were that much of a big deal. But other than that, I mean, just a lot of single file. I mean, it's the Indy 500, you know. It was a typical Indy 500, kind of on the lower end, in my opinion. I mean, again, you had, like, moments like, you know, Schwartzman, of course, starting on pole. You had, you know, the crashes like Larson's crash. You had, you know, a bunch of guys get taken out. And he had a lot of exciting moments as well. And I really do feel like also the end of that race kind of just left the bad taste in everyone's mouths. Not only because of the caution, but those 2 lap cars. Again, I don't know if Palou was backing off to get the draft, or he literally couldn't pass them. Because I think, wouldn't you want a buffer between yourself and second place with 2 lap cars? Wouldn't that be better than just getting the draft? But my thing is that it kind of dulled the finish. The finish was kind of dull in that sense. So I'm going to put the Indy 500 at 4th. I don't think it was bad, but definitely lacking compared to the 3 races we have coming up, which number 3 on the podium spot, I'm going to give it to the truck race. Truck race was just a domination show, really, by Heim. Nothing wrong with that. At this point, I want Heim to win every race. You know, kind of like what I said with Alex Palou. I love it when drivers are just basically, I'm not going to say what I want to say, but like basically just waxing the field and saying, I'm better than all of you, and I'm just going to show y'all that I'm better than all of you. But when that happens, obviously, in the moment, it's boring. And the race was kind of dull, admittedly. Maybe I should switch to the Indy 500, the truck race, but I thought the truck race, you know, shorter, a little more concise, and, you know, at least Heim, I don't want to say Palou didn't earn the win, but Heim just straight out, flat out beat everyone's rear tail. Palou, was it dirty air? Was it he was just backing off? Never know. But I'm putting the truck race at 3rd regardless. Number 2, I'm going to put the Xfinity Series race up here. And this race had a lot of action. Allgaier led a lot of laps, but then he had some adversity as well. Then he had a lot of other incidents as well. Byron had to work his way through the field and eventually get by Allgaier in the last few laps to get the win. That was very exciting. The Xfinity Series very rarely puts on a dull race. I don't even know how many Xfinity races I have that are a D tier below. I know there's the Martinsville race, but that was just because everyone forgot common sense. But I thought the Xfinity race was a very, very good race. So, that leaves one more. I don't remember the last time I had the Cup race up at number 1. I know at the beginning of the season, we had a streak of the Cup Series being at the top for like the first 5 or 6 weeks. And then we had a stretch where we had that low point. But I thought this 600 was very good. It looked like Byron was going to just do what he did at Darlington. Clean air, dominant, back of the pack, does nothing. But he took the lead from Hamlin. He came from 3rd, 2nd, and got the lead. Hamlin was up there. It looked like Larson was going to be in the mix. Then he lost talent again. Chastain making his march. You had different moments. Hosts of our trying to make, blowing up, trying to go for the lead, crying out loud. Briscoe working his way through the field again, getting a 3rd place finish. There were so many storylines, Jimmy Johnson with his 700 start, Connor Zillage making his first oval in the Cup Series. There were so many moments throughout the race. And again, the racing itself, Charlotte rarely puts on a bad show, but I'm happy this was, okay, Byron actually had a good car and not just, it was clean air. Of course, clean air played a factor. Clean air is always going to play a factor. You can't get rid of it no matter what. But at least it wasn't like Darlington where that was the sole reason everything happened. It was good cars, good drivers, hustling their way around the track, and eventually Chastain got an improbable win. So because of all that, And phenomenal racing, I'm putting it at number 1. See some of the comments here. I see Malcolm and Antonio are having a little bit of a chat right now. Malcolm, Indy 500 was fun. Definitely lacked the hype from previous years. However, I don't think that low is fair because it had too much backstory to it. Larson's 1100, Tony Kanaan maybe racing, Schwartzman, Sato, etc. I see your point. And maybe, again, it's kind of like the finish and like looking back and just seeing how poor the coverage was that left the bad taste in my mouth. But I don't know. I just didn't vibe with this 500 compared to other ones. I don't know what it was. I probably should put it above trucks, but for some reason, I'm like, I don't vibe with it. I didn't vibe with this 500, personally. Leave it to Logano to spoil something low. Thankfully, it's an off year for him. Logano hasn't even been that bad this year. He's been faster this year. He's just not getting the finishes. Last year was the exact opposite. He had no speed, but got the finishes. Obviously, won the title. BT, I was there live. That is awesome, man. Hey, tell us how the race was. How was it to see Chastain? Did you get to see the watermelon smash in person? How was that? All right, moving on to the 2025 race weekend rankings tier, and this list is blowing up. So, let's put some races on the tier list. Monaco, F tier. I can't defend Monaco. When they tried mandating it with 2 tires, and then you got guys just saying, we're just going to get out the way on lap 1. Max, like, Kimi didn't even do a tire stop, I think, throughout the race. Max just held on to the end. And you can't defend Monaco. Hopefully the next generation of car makes it better, but there's no defending it. It was god-awful. Indy 500. I'll put it... I'm slowly talking myself into... You know what? I think it was better than the... I'm going to put it... I'm going to put it at the end of B tier. I don't think it was a bad race. Again, I don't think it was a great race, but it was a good enough Indy 500. I really thought with the hybrids we were going to see just a parade. We did it. We did see a lot of action. So, I'm going to put the end of B tier. I like that spot for it. Truck Series, I'll put it right in front. I'll put it, the Truck Series race, right at the front of the Indy 500. Again, I don't know why. There we go. Again, fairly close. Again, kind of like in this B, C tier, these will mix and match. I wouldn't be surprised if next week I decide to flip the Indy 500 and this run, the truck race. Xfinity, I'll move it towards the upper echelon of B tier. I think it was better than the 500. I think it was better than most of the races here on B tier. Maybe not better than some of these other races here, like the Vegas races were really, really good. Obviously, this race was really good as well. So, I'm going to put it at the end of B tier. And the Coke 600. Maybe I'm in a good mood, but do I want to put this at the top of B tier? Or do I want to put this at the end of A tier? Nah, I don't think it was necessarily an A tier race, so I'm going to put it at the top of B tier. I think that it lacked a little bit to make it an A tier race. The coverage was A tier. Most of the racing was solid. I think top of B tier is good for it. So there we go. There is the race weekend rankings for the 2025 season, including some new series. Monaco, Indy, and then, of course, our 3 races. And then if I were to put ARCA in here, I mean, ARCA was so I'd probably put it somewhere in C tier. I don't remember much from ARCA, and I watched the whole race, so that should tell you how really impactful that was. So there we go, 2025 race weekend rankings. If you want to show us your race weekend rankings for the Memorial Day weekend and the 2025 season as a whole, both the links are in the description. Make sure you share it on social media. You tag me and the Daily Downforce, and we'll share it out for you so that everyone can see your rankings. But that is going to do it that's going to do it for this episode of the Cutline, everybody. A very late episode, so I want to thank all you who tuned in throughout this episode. It is almost midnight, but I had fun, as I always have with you guys. Before we go, let's just see the chat one more time. Malcolm McShane, when I heard that, it sounded like F1 just recreated Sage Cautions. Absolutely. Oh my God, Monaco, that was terrible. Malcolm, again, that was definitely a step in the wrong direction. I agree. I'll take their driver images over the goofy cartoon ones from Fox. Yeah, I don't know why Fox. I don't know what is going on with Fox just in general, but hopefully they figure it out. But that's going to do it for this episode, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, as always. If you guys want to follow me on social media, X, Instagram, TikTok, you name it, at Armani DePaul. It's just my first and last name. You see it on the Cutline logo right above me. Just put them together on social media, and then you'll find me. Obviously, follow Daily Downforce on all social medias as well. Check out dailydownforce.com for all the great content that we got. Got photo, all the content that we got over there, articles, you name it. And make sure to like and subscribe. Next week, I believe it is... Hold on, I still got the NASCAR website up. I believe I can see where are we going next weekend. I want to say it's Nashville. It's either Nashville or Michigan. I know it's one of the two. Nashville. Ooh, that's going to be fun. That's going to be fun. Before we go, I want to show you guys something. I actually do have something I want to show you guys here. So, this is a little bit off topic, off brand or whatever, but for all of my iRacers out there. So, I've done iRacing for a couple years now. And I just want to show you something. I want to give a shout out, as I always try to do, to the amazing Chris Lilly. He's the one who came up with the logo of the Cutline, the graphics, you name it. And he made these beautiful, beautiful looking Cutline cars for iRacing. We'll just show them momentarily. But I want to show them some love. I mean, I know you can't really see it too much here. Let's see if... I'm going to try to do something. Let's see if I can do this. I know we're going a little bit off script right now, but I do want to show this to you guys. So, I mean, look at that. Look at that. You got the Cutline. It is asymmetrical, so the right side is different from the left. Number 5, not because of Kyle Larson, but... For those who don't know, my favorite number is 5. It is not because of Kyle Larson. It is because of Speed Racer. I'm a huge Speed Racer fan, and I love the Mach 5. It's my favorite all-time car, so that's why my favorite number is the number 5. But yeah, you got the Cutline, Daily Downforce. It is just awesome. You got the Batman logo because I'm a Batman fanatic. FIU, you got my university. I know you can't really see it here too much, but shout out to FAR USA. Funko Pops, because I'm a Funko fanatic, also Flanagan's fanatic, and then of course Chris Lilly Design. So just some personal sponsors, from like stuff that I'm familiar with. But yeah, that's the Xfinity car, and then I need to show you guys the ARCA and the truck. Again, I know I'm going a little bit off script here, but I just want to show you guys that this stuff is awesome. Here's the ARCA car, very similar, of course, but obviously with the ARCA. If you want to know, 2 out of the 3 are Chevys, because I'm a Chevy guy. Why the Toyota Supra? Well, I used to compete in the NASCAR iRacing College Series, and when I did, my team captain, he insisted that we drove Toyota Supras, so that's why. And I'm not paying another $15 just to drive a Camaro, when it's the same thing, basically, in terms of physics. But here's the ARCA car, and then... we will get the truck in just a moment. And here's the truck. And there you go. They're so nice. They are so nice. I've ran them a couple times. I got a win in all 3 of them now. Closest I came to was 2nd in ARCA Daytona. And I was running top 5, and in a truck race, unfortunately, netcode bit me. But yeah, just want to show those to you guys real quick. And again, that's going to do it for this episode. So again, thank you guys so much for tuning in as always. And hey, Maybe I might see you guys on an iRacing session, and I'll definitely be seeing you guys next week for Nashville. That's going to do it for us, folks. We're going to wave the checkered flag. This is the Cutline. Thank you guys so much for always, and we will see you next week for Nashville. Have a good one, y'all.